So I have the great privilege to introduce our keynote this morning, Ryan O'Reilly. So we specifically picked Ryan to speak to us this morning because we really believe that, you know, everything that we do, our careers and our personal life, it's all in our own hands, and we are in control of our own destiny. So I know that Ryan has worked with many companies to build high performance teams, and he's worked with a lot of professionals. And so I'm really excited. He's tailored his talk to us specifically today for the software industry. So thank you for that, Ryan. And so I just want to give a big welcome to you, Ryan.
Thank you. Thanks very much for the lovely introduction there. Good morning, everyone. I will have to do that again. Good morning, everyone. That's much better. Okay, so as you probably realised, and as per the introduction, I know nothing about your industry, I have to admit, right? I'm going to be very honest about that. What I am an expert on is, I'm an expert on performance, right? I look at performance, I look at underperformance, I look at reasons for performance, and I go and I teach teams about how to perform better. That's what I do. So what I really do is I really assist people in stepping into their potential. Now, you might say, whoa, it's 9:05 now. Hold on a second, Ryan. What's this psychobabble about so early in the morning? Well, let me explain. So everyone here has done a lot of work to get to where you are. So whatever you've done throughout your life, from early secondary school right through to university or to your work, you've got to where you've got to through hard work, dedication, and to getting uncomfortable. Would you all agree with that? Well, half of you anyway. Okay, that's good. That's a good start. Okay, so we've all got to this place where we've worked really hard, we've done really well, and we're now arrived at a place where, you know, we're not terribly comfortable, but, you know, we're doing well, okay? We're doing well and we're liking it. And what tends to happen when we get to that place is that we stay there for a long time, you know, because it's comfortable, isn't it? And that's the difference. So it's between where you are now and where you could be, that's your potential, all right? Make sense to everybody? And to illustrate this point further, I have a couple of examples. So does anybody know who this is? Well done, Salesforce CEO Mark Beinhoff. So when you look at the backstories of really successful people, you start to understand that most of them come from really humble beginnings. Most of them come from really small starts. This guy started in Oracle as a customer service rep. He worked there for 13 years. Now, he realized that you had to shift gears. You had to reach for your potential. You had to take steps towards that from wherever you were. He was the youngest VP promoted in Oracle. He had an idea. He had an idea, read a CRM that Oracle were producing at the time. And he went to his boss and said, listen, I have a great idea. And his boss said, listen, we don't have time for ideas. We have to focus on what we're doing here. He chased it anyway. Off he went. And now he's the CEO of Salesforce.com. He was one of the early evangelists of SaaS as a product. And I think he's worth $3 billion. He's a $3 billion stake in Salesforce anyway. Probably has another 4 in the bank. Another example. Everyone know this one? Hands up who doesn't like him. Okay, that's fairly honest, very good. And I'm assuming who does like him? Okay, and everyone else is kind of on the fence, right? Okay. Whether you like him or hate him, you can't stop admiring this guy's unwavering self-belief. And what I love about this guy and this story is the fact that 7 years ago, he was on a building site in Dublin as an apprentice plumber or carpenter, getting orders to go down to the van and get that piece of piping, please, and doing whatever apprentices do in that situation. Now, remember, 7 years ago, 2010, it was the middle of the crash, so he was lucky to be even on a building site probably at the time, right? But imagine the situation he's in. He's a young fella, he's just got an apprentice. You're probably going to try and hold on to that as hard as you can. He didn't. He said, no, to hell with this. I'm going back on social welfare and I'm going to train full time and I'm going to turn myself into the Conor McGregor that I think I can be. Does that make sense to everybody? My next example. Does anyone know who this is? Sarah Blakely. So she's the CEO of one of the largest brands in the world. You probably won't know the brand, but the brand is Spanx. She was a HP rep selling printers door to door, 5 to 6 days a week, flying all over the States. She wasn't very successful at it. She worked bloody hard at it. And then she came up with a great idea. And the idea was rejected by people she knew at first, but she kept at it. She was tenacious about it, and she went about it to try and make her idea work. Eventually, it became Spanx, and it's now a billion-dollar company, believe it or not, right? And that's why it's one of the most globally recognized in her product category. The next example I have for you is this lady, Oprah Winfrey. So Oprah Winfrey was a television co-host or an announcer. So she was sometimes the woman that you hear behind the screen that you don't even see that announces what program is next. You know the person I'm talking about? And her boss came to her and said, listen, Oprah, we really don't think this is working out for you. We don't think TV is for you. Maybe you should go get a career in something else. And she went, all right, okay, duly noted, I'm fired, I'll probably take this badly. But now she owns a television network and she's obviously a media magnet. Now, some of the common characteristics of all these people is tenacity, is unwavering self-belief, is a vision of themselves, is the fact that they were comfortable and they got themselves uncomfortable pretty quickly to get to their potential. Everyone with me so far? Yes? Okay, good. You're still there. Okay, so my next example, does anybody know who this is? J.K. Rowling, brilliant. So, does everyone know her backstory? Okay, fantastic story. So it's a kind of a sad story, and then it turns fantastic. But so she gets divorced. She has to move home from Portugal to Scotland. She's got a small child. Her mother dies. She can't find a job. She's unemployed, and she gets an idea for a book. And she goes to a cafe every single day, same seat, and writes her book. Now, she writes the book, she writes Harry Potter, of course, but it wasn't as if the publisher was sitting at the next table and the movie guy was sitting at the other table going, Jesus, JK, this is brilliant, sign these contracts. She got a lot of rejection letters even after she wrote the first book, a lot. So she still believed in herself to get there, and she was still making herself really uncomfortable in chasing this dream, but she chased it nonetheless. My final example is this guy, it's Jack Canfield, and Jack Canfield wrote a book called Chicken Soup for the Soul. Anyone hear of it? Okay, so Jack Canfield wrote Chicken Soup for the Soul. It was 101 stories of normal people who had just overcome adversity, really heartwarming stories that you really get inspired and motivated by. He wrote it with a guy called Mark Victor Hansen, and the two of them said, this is going to sell a bucket load. Right? So off they flew to New York and went to meet all the publishers in New York. All the publishers said, I'm not even going to read it. No. Good luck. How many publishers did they go through before they got a publisher, do you think? Throw me up a number. 20, thanks Aidan. Any advances on 20? I'm like the guy at the Mart. 30, thanks very much. Any advances on 30? 100, okay, good. So it was 144, right, over 14 months. Now, it wasn't like it was Cork and they could walk into these guys. This was traveling all over the States to all these publishers. It was 144, but they believed that the product and the idea was good and that someone would take them. And they reject rejection. That's what they say a lot. They reject rejection, okay? So 144, 14 months. And then when finally they met a publisher who said, listen, I'll read it, right? I'm not promising I'm going to publish it, but I'll read it. He read it and said, okay, we'll publish it, I suppose. And the guys got all excited and said, how many do you think we're going to sell, Mr. Publisher? And the publisher said, well, listen, all honesty now, lads, all jokes aside, right, we'll probably be lucky to sell about 20,000 of them, right? And the boys are like, oh, okay. How many were you thinking of selling? Well, we had a plan to sell 1.5 million in 1.5 years. Well, the publisher thought this was the funniest thing ever, and he thought they were a duo better than Laurel and Hardy, fell about the place laughing, and said, that's not going to happen. So, how many think they've sold in 20 years, 23 years? Anyone hazard a guess? Huh? 10 million? 20 million? Anyone further on 20? Is it like this auction, Harrods or something? 100 million? So they've sold 500 million copies of Chicken Soup for the Soul. Now imagine if you only got $1 for every book you sold, you'd be doing all right. 500 million, so it's 500 million books they've sold, and they were rejected 144 times. Okay? Now, if you ask them, are you happy with that? They go, no, we want to sell 1 billion books by 2020. That's what they say, all right? So the lesson here is that these people all came from humble beginnings. They all had normal careers and were very comfortable in them, but they did something to get themselves out of that comfortableness and get themselves uncomfortable. Now, I've mentioned uncomfortable a few times, so you should now be getting uncomfortable about what the rest of the speech is going to be about. Okay, so 500 million, and then one of their quotes is, when the world says no to you, you say next. There's 7 billion people in the world, so if people keep rejecting your idea, you have to keep going. You're going to find someone that's going to like it. Now, you might have to refine your idea, but you have to keep going, okay? So, the analogy I'm using here to stepping into your potential and being in your comfort zone and reaching for your potential, it's like coasting on a bicycle. Anyone a cyclist here? Serious cyclists? Are you serious? Serious enough? Kind of half hands, right? Everyone's been on a bike though, right? Everyone's experienced that. And you know what it's like to be on a bike. You know, the wind in your hair, you know, the sun might be nice and cool, relaxing, nice and wind. You know, it's exhilarating, isn't it, to be going fast on a straight. When we're on a bicycle, though, what happens when we start going uphill? Our legs start to ache. You know, we start to slow down, our breath starts to get caught, and we get up off our saddle, and then what we do is we shift our gears and we try and get up over the hill, don't we? What we do in life, though, is when we're coasting along, right, we get to that hill, we don't even realize we're at that hill. We just get stuck. We're just plowing away, doing what we used to do all the time on the flat, but we're not really changing the gears. We don't really know how. So if I can give you some tips and tricks around how to change those gears for yourselves today and get uncomfortable and get yourself up over that hill faster, then what you're doing is you're making a step towards your own potential. With me? Okay, good. So what I want to do is talk about comfortable versus uncomfortable. So for today, in this fantastic environment and this place where you have everyone from your industry in one room, you have two choices. You can be comfortable, and I don't mean physically, you know, the chairs and the room and everything's brilliant. I mean, you can be comfortable and sit there and take everything from the stage, like you would do at a normal conference, and just try and learn everything from the stage. And you can sit there all day and do that. You can do what 80% of people do at conferences, which is after the day they go, geez, that was brilliant. I'm definitely going to have some takeaways to take away there. And then 80% of people go away the next day and forget they were even at the conference. Right? 20% of people at conferences, statistically proven, actually take some takeaways from today and go, I'm going to work this into my new routine. Okay? So you have a choice. You can be comfortable or uncomfortable. Now, is everyone comfortable? Okay, so what I'm going to ask you to do, right, I'm going to ask you to, because I saw people coming in twos and threes, and you all sat together, so I'm going to ask you to change seats and cross the room, right? I'm going to give you about 40 seconds. You're going to have to, and the guys, and I talked to the guys down the back particularly, because I thought these were the smartest lads in the room, the four most comfortable chairs, and they were like, yeah, you know, I'm smart, I'm sitting here at the back. Well, you're not anymore. So you're going to switch from right over here to right over there. And here's what I want you to do. When you switch, I want you to, the new person you find yourself sitting beside, that isn't somebody you know, the new person you find yourself sitting beside, I want you to put out your hand and say, hello, how are you? My name is whatever. So at least you make a new connection. All right, go. Getting a lot of, yeah, sorry, yeah. Is that better? Is it? I can hear that.
No, we should be okay there now.
All right, okay, thanks. All right, cheers, man, thanks. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, 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 hello. Yeah, okay.
Pull the shield out a bit more. Use it lower. Okay.
Okay, brilliant, thank you. Okay, you've 10 seconds. We're not here all morning. Okay, brilliant. There's one seat up here, there's another seat over here. There's one over here. Okay, we good? Okay. So that made you get uncomfortable. Now, don't worry, right? Settle into those seats for the rest of the speech. I'm not going to ask you to change back, okay? So rest assured, all right? Now, what I'd encourage you to do throughout the day is not sit in the same seat. Every time there's a break, come back into a different seat and meet different people. Introduce yourself to a different person. That's how best to maximize yourself at a conference. Now, if you want to be comfortable, you can sit beside the same guys or go back to your friends after the break. Or if you want to be uncomfortable and use this conference to really kick yourself on, you'll sit in a different seat and you'll talk to someone new. The next thing I'd say to you is opportunity. So your choice here is to have the opportunity of listening to these fantastic speakers that are lined up today, just like you do at a normal conference. The other choice is to have the opportunity to look at both sides of the fold, okay? So you're going to learn from the stage, but the people that you're going to most learn from are the people here. So beside you are your future employers, your future employees, your future co-founders, your future venture capitalists, your future mentors, and your future coaches, believe it or not. Everyone you need is here in this room. Everyone. All right, so it's your decision and it's your opportunity on what you want to do, but I'd like you to make the opportunity and see the opportunity and open your mind to the opportunity. Now, when I say, see what I did here? COD, I wonder what the next one is. When I say all this about opportunity, it's your decision. And when we make decisions cognitively in our brain, there's two ways we can make them. We can have a fixed mindset, or we can have a growth mindset. And I'll come back to that in a second. And the last one then is energy. So I noticed a lot of energy this morning in the room, and I spend most of my times in the early mornings going into reception places of work, wherever I go in to speak. And what I'm doing is I'm watching people coming in through the reception door and how they arrive into work. And you can always tell a 9 in energy because they're bouncing into work. They're loving it. They're like, how are you? Good morning. How are things? How are you doing? They're even saying hello to me. They don't even know me. How are you? You well? Right. In the door they go to work. And then the people have no energy. They're walking in the door like that, maybe not as enthused, and off they go. But I watch this all the time. So I'm trying to really, really pinpoint how important energy is to you today. And let me do this by an example. So did you ever get the floppy handfish, the handshake from hell? Did you ever get that? When people go, when you're all into meeting someone and they just don't even look at you and their hand is all floppy. Did you ever get that? Well, I hate that, right? I absolutely hate that. So what I want you to do is I want you to find someone new, okay? You don't have to go across the room or anything, but I want you to stand up, find someone new, right? And I want you to shake their hand with the floppy handfish, okay? Okay, this thing. I want you to shake their hand, and I want you to not look at their eyes, and I want you to barely mention their name, and I want you to be not interested in them, okay? Now, go. Someone you don't know. I already love this crowd because you've skipped a step. You were all like, hey, how's it going? Right, so I already love you. So the next one I want you to do then is the total opposite. I want you to grab the elbow of the person that you're saying hello to, like bring an Enda Kenny handshake from 4 miles away, right? I want you to do the eye thing. I want you to say your name like it's a long-lost friend, and I want you to do it with a different person. I would go. Ready? These two guys are going for pints later. So did you notice the difference in energy? It just went up following this, right? People in Cork went, geez, what's happened up there today, right? It was brilliant, okay? So energy all the way through the day. Now, you're going to be drained if you're throwing yourself into energy the whole day, but won't it be worth it if you see the opportunity, if you actually feel uncomfortable in how you normally be at conferences, and you get yourself out of there, get yourself uncomfortable, and that's where you're going to grow a little bit. Okay, so back to the mindset thing. So the fixed mindset is, we all have this, by the way. We all go through this at different times of the day. But fixed mindsets are when we say things like, I'm not a math person. This is something I am not good at. I can't play the guitar. I don't speak Italian well. I'm a procrastinator. That's a fixed mindset, okay? Now, to exemplify this a little bit further for you, I put a picture of a famous person up. Some of you might recognize him, to exemplify what a fixed mindset is. It's John Mcenroe. Does everyone remember John Mcenroe? I hope everyone remembers John Mcenroe. So let's talk about John Mcenroe for a second. John Mcenroe was an enormously talented tennis player. Like, there's no doubting his talent. There's no doubting his effort. There's no doubting his commitment. There's no doubting he won trophies. He was the Nadal of his time, okay? The thing that let poor old John down was, if a decision went against him, he acted like a, 5-year-old maybe 6. Okay, and what he was famous for, what he became famous for, in the front pages of the sports pages or the front pages of newspapers, or the first item on the sports news was his outbursts for things not going his way. Right? So there's a bit of John in all of us, okay? And what he used to do was, he used to go, you cannot be serious, right? That was in, right? He'd argue for 10 minutes with the umpire, and to no avail. And he had a very fixed mindset because he believed he was right. And we're like that sometimes, aren't we? So when we have fixed mindsets, we believe we're right and no one else can be right. And we're not at all flexible to anyone else being right. So I want you to silence the inner John Mcenroe today, okay? I want you to bring that John Mcenroe, put him at the back burner today. I don't want you to be right in every conversation. I don't want you to jump in and tell people they're wrong, right, like John Mcenroe would do. I don't want you to be doing this at any time through the day. That would be good. That won't be good for you anyway. And I want you to make sure that John Mcenroe is at the back of your mind, not the front. Now, at the forefront of your mind, I want a growth mindset. And a growth mindset will be saying things, I'm not a math person yet. This is something I am not good at yet. Okay? I can't play the guitar yet. I can't speak Italian well yet. I am not a procrastinator. See the subtle difference? So the most powerful word in a growth mindset is the word yet. Okay? Get me? So Mark Beinhoff, when he was a customer service rep, I'm sure he said to himself, I'm not a billionaire yet. Jack Canfield, I haven't sold $500 million yet. Okay? There's a huge difference there then in how you approach things. And you're rejecting rejection straight away. You're refusing to let anyone dissuade you from where you want to go. Now, to exemplify this growth mindset, I call it the Bruce Lee mindset. And when you look at this picture versus the one of John, let's go back, right? Which one do you want to be? And I hope the answer isn't John, right? So if you look at Bruce, right? So Bruce Lee was a famous actor, but he came into acting because he was brilliant at martial arts. He mastered his craft. He became known as just an expert in what he was doing. He was absolutely fantastic at it. Look at his face, right? Do you think anything is going to stop him there, right? He's so focused on where he's going. He's so focused on reaching his potential. He's obviously fit and trim, but he's really focused into what he's doing. Now, some of the things he became famous for, once he became famous, was that he had a great philosophy about life. All right? But to really feel what it likes to be like Bruce Lee for a second, I'm going to demonstrate my Bruce Lee to you. Now, there's 150 people here. I'm going to be a little bit mortified, but just go with it, right? So, you ready? 1, 2, 3. Hooah! Right? Okay, everyone's looking at me like I'm an idiot, but no, you have to do it, right? So I want everyone to stand up, okay? See, you all laughed. So what I want to see is I want to see energy and I want to see your best Bruce Lee, okay? Now, be careful not to assault the person in front of you. Be careful of the elbows beside you, right? But I want you to see is your best Bruce Lee, okay? At the count of 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Whoa! Now, hold it there. Oh, we'll go again. Whoa! Right, hold it. Oh, you keep stopping. Right, so I want you to hold it when you get in there, right? So 1, 2, 3, go. Whoa! Now, hold it. I'm going to take a picture. All right, and I'm going to take a picture, and I'm going to send this to Aidan later on, all right? And I'll take a couple to make sure everyone's in it. Hold those Bruce Lee poses. Okay, you can sit down. So looking at 150 Bruce Lee poses, like I'm from Limerick, you know, we're tough in Limerick, but we're not that tough. We can't take on 150 people, right? But like you look like together you could achieve an awful lot more, that no one would take you on. You all had a real positive mindset. How did it feel to be in that pose? Was it good? Uncomfortable? Excellent. That's what I want. Okay, so I'm going to encourage you to be like Bruce Lee today, right? That doesn't mean go around karate chopping everybody, but it does mean that you're really, really flexible in your thinking and that you're open to the opportunity. You're open to those that are on the stage and you're open to those that are around you. The new ideas that will present themselves to you. Okay with everybody? Okay, so one of his favorite quotes, one of my favorite quotes of Bruce Lee is "Be like water, my friend." Right? No, I can't say it like Bruce Lee said it, but that's what he said. Be like water, my friend. Now, if you think of water for a second, water coming down a hill, if it gets to a boulder, what does it do? Yeah, it goes around the water, doesn't it, right? Or it finds the easiest path down. If it comes down and there's a tree falling down in the path of the water, what does the water do? Floats over it, doesn't it, eventually? So water fits whatever form it fits, it goes into it, water fits it. And that's, if your thinking is flexible enough like that, then you'll see opportunity. And if you see opportunity, then you'll recognize your future co-founders, you'll recognize your future bosses, your future employees, your future employers, your future mentors, your future coaches, and your future financiers. Okay with everybody? Are we all feeling good? I will try that again, lads. Come on. Are we all feeling good? Okay, good. Okay, so the top 6 takeaways that I want you to take away from today, right? So keep your eye on the prize. Try and figure out where it is you want to get to. And it doesn't have to happen today, by the way. It's not going to be a quantum leap. It's going to be a small step. So try and keep your eye on the prize. Where is it you want to get to in the end? What does the extra bit of your potential look like? All right? So that's what I want you to do. The second thing I want you to do is embrace your inner Bruce Lee. Be like water. Be flexible in your thinking. Be flexible and open to the people around you. Try and learn. Try and make sure that you use both sides of the stage, as I said earlier, and try and use this as a day that platforms you to whatever you're going to do next, okay? And this is a fantastic opportunity, by the way, again, to have everyone in the same room, right? So you have everyone that you need here. The third thing I'd say is get comfortable being uncomfortable, right? And by that I mean is, you know, don't sit in the same seat, try and talk to new people, try and come away with context. And a real challenge for everybody is to set up some follow-up meetings, okay? Follow-up coffees, follow-up chats, maybe you get a group of you together at lunch and you decide you're going to do a monthly thing. But come up with some ideas here today where you can continue the conversations from the excellent speakers that will be on later on today. Is that fair enough with everybody? Okay. Next one, learn more to earn more. So this is a brilliant one, and I have this in my office at home, learn more to earn more. So I know you're very enthusiastic about what you do, but the more you learn from the people around you, and the more you get into what they do and how they do it, the more you're going to earn. It's that simple, right? Now, if you believe in abundance, all you have to do is put it out there first, that you want to learn more, and then you will earn more. But it's a brilliant thing to remember, learn more to earn more. The next one is transform that inner critic into an inner coach. So that inner John Mcenroe that we talked about earlier, that's going to be very critical of you at various times, maybe that perfectionist nature that you might have, maybe that over attention to detail where you need all the detail before you make a decision. Maybe you just tell them to just give you a break every now and again, and maybe you look in the mirror maybe later on and just go, you're doing all right, kid, right? Be easy on yourself, right? Now you can do that here or at home, it's up to yourselves, right? Your man, what's his name, Penny Apple's Bill Cullen, anytime he's interviewed, he always says, and he says this on national television, right, so show you how confident he is about himself, but he says that he wakes up every morning, looks in the mirror and goes, Jesus, Bill, you're bleeding rapid, right? So there's no harm in that. It's silencing your inner critic, and it's making sure that you're thinking positively about yourself, about all the things you don't do right? Fix that, and tell yourself all the stuff you do right. Okay? It'll make a huge difference to your outlook and your mindset. Now, don't forget to code, sorry for the bad joke, uncomfortable, try to be uncomfortable, look for the opportunity, make the right decisions, and bring some energy to everything you're doing today as well. Viktor Frankl, he wrote Man's Search of Meaning, great book. Everything can be taken from you, but one thing, the freedom to choose your attitude. So go forth today and have just a great attitude. Enjoy the day. Like the organisers have done a great job of putting it all together. Enjoy it. Throw yourself into everything. And who knows what kind of opportunity will come out of it. Is that fair enough to everybody? Okay, so you thought you were going to get away with it, of course. I want you to have a rebel-con attitude today. I want you to go like rebels do and do it differently and spark up some great conversation. But before we go and to end on a positive note, I'm going to ask you all to stand up again. We're going to do the Bruce Lee thing one more time, right? Okay? All right, now I want you to throw all your effort and energy into this, and I want you to really raise the roof on this. And the people in Cork, I want them to be looking up going, geez, what's that? It's martial arts cast or something, right? Okay, and I want you to really throw your energy and then try and continue that throughout today. So at the count of 3, ready? 1, 2, 3. Hooah! Thanks very much.